Good evening. Hello. I say good evening because we are in Ecuador, in Latin America. This is the Tom sign, or it depends on the part of the world you are. If you are in another continent, so good morning, good afternoon. Hello, fellow teachers. Thanks for being here. Follow us in our social medias, professional development. Andres Rodriguez from Ecuador is exchanging this program in order to support English teachers and enhance different knowledge in order to learn from other people's experience, experts, other colleagues. And the topic is open. We widely discuss about different perspectives, not only methodologies, we can discuss about advantages, disadvantages, specific points of education that we clearly can bring concepts, ideas, or discussion. So discussion, I mean, when you start with an idea, and then we make some conclusions, and we decide if it is right or wrong. In education, is not linear, so it conveys in different shapes. Now, so firstly, we have this new invention. It exists different innovations, but we have to it is determined in the context, the place, the time where it is located. So that's not only one way. There are many ways. All right. So welcome and thank you so much, Miss Mayra. Thanks for being here. It's a pleasure and honor. So how are you doing?
Thank you so much, Andres, for your invitation. It's a great opportunity to share with all of you some insights and discuss about my journey as well. I'm so grateful for the chance to share my experiences and thoughts with you. As you said, yes, absolutely. Flexibility is key to being an effective teacher. And every classroom, it's made of different types of students. They learn in diverse learning styles, but they come from different backgrounds. And as educators, we must be adaptable and flexible to our approach. So thank you so much again. I hope we had a great night tonight.
Okay, thanks for your opening for the starting this introduction, giving your. So let's get first started. Let's get to know to the audience, Mayra, where are you from? So when do you start? When do you start initially as an English teacher?
Well, to introduce myself, my name is Mayra Avila Ortiz. I am from Cuenca, Ecuador. Currently, I'm a full-time teacher at the University of Cuenca, where I have worked with the students at various English proficiency levels. Additionally, I've been conducting some research on speaking skills and pragmatics. Currently, also, I'm pursuing my PhD in linguistics in Argentina. And regarding my methodologies, my methods, I would say that most of my methodology comes from this, or is based on the communicative language teaching. This is a method where emphasizes mostly on present our students the English based on realia, on real life context. So in this way, students don't learn just in the classroom. They just learn through other types of methods, such as, and strategies and other techniques, such as role plays, debates, probably group discussions or storytelling. So in this way, I try to help my students build their confidence to speak and interact in English without the pressure of perfection, I would say.
Even though a communicative approach seeks for the tool as communication in order to enhance the capacity to listen and also to make productive skills, for example, speaking, writing. So in the real world, we don't only taste one skill. So it's multi-skills in every language, no? So you travel
Absolutely.
around the world, you communicate, you don't only listen. You're not only passive. So
Mhm.
first you listen, and then you go through to oral outcomes or just writing. Depends on the context. So right, thank you so much.
Mhm.
Um, dear Mayra, you mentioned about the methodology, so it sounds that you have been using this approach for some years now, because I have recently heard you are doing a postgrad, and congratulations. So, because I have seen your achievements now, so you as a presenter, I imagine that you take your time for research, because um it's not only from one day to another in order to say, okay, I create something new. I did this in my class. So you need a period of time, no? You need months, you need a semester, you need well, 1 year, I don't know. So tell us, please, a little bit more about, uh, so why did you decide to focus on research? So as teachers, we are conducting all the time because we observe. But why do you decide to conduct research in education?
Okay, well, I have to go back a little bit to my past. And well, since I was a child, I always had a love for language and communication. Um, since I was a kid, well, I loved writing and reading stories and even helping my classmates when they were writing some storytelling. So since that I was a child, I remember I always loved speaking in front of people, in front of different audiences, and communicating in a different language. I was the one, even I remember I was the one that used to, or who used to volunteer to present or give speeches during school events. It wasn't just about speaking, it was about connecting people through language. So I think is that how I started. After high school, I decided to pursue a degree in English language, which combined my love for language with my interest in how people communicate. So during those years, during my university years, I got the opportunity to teach English as a volunteer in community programs. And that's when I truly found my calling to research as well. So many years ago, I worked in a high school. In this high school, I had the opportunity to work in a radio program. And I asked myself, and I said, why not applying a type of research where students can be involved in a radio program? They can participate, they can ask questions and answer to them in English language. So that's what really inspired me, using the radio as a tool to communicate. And so that's why I decided to start doing some research. After the applications of some months, as you said, it takes time. Um, I came up with a program. The program was a lifetime radio show. And then I presented my research at some universities, and then I had the opportunity to present it in Mexico last year. So that would be so far.
Yeah. So and the evidence is that the the work that you have done. So when I said
Mhm.
achievement that um you have done so, uh, they are they are published in the some uh, academic journals or different academic references, when you know that there are, for example, I don't know, is couples, or there are other international recognized websites where academics, they can publish, no, their
Mhm.
findings or their work they have done. So uh, tell us your experience a little bit more about your publication. So what uh, recommended specific websites or academic journals do you suggest for professionals to publish their academic articles?
Well, regarding to my research, I would say, well, I published it on, let me see, 20 and 21. Yes, I published it in a journal, academic journal. And well, the research was about taking some students, a group of students who really wanted to improve their speaking skills. But overall, it was a combination of questions of social studies, but using the English language. So this program was around 1 hour per day, and some students came to the radio, and they were asked some questions, and they also presented their information, their points of view. And after a while of 6 months, more or less, we realized as the teachers that we presented that program that it improved actually the speaking skills of the students. Also, it was a great tool because in this way, students could work and use the language in a different way, not just in the classroom, but also in a context that was not at that time used. Okay, so in that way, they could even be creative. They could interact with other teachers even at the same time. And it was a real idea and a time to use the language in a real way. So, uh, as the second question that you said, well, I highly recommend teachers to do research, first of all, because in this way they can work not only on the class, but also find out new ways and techniques to help their students. We as teachers, we need to continue always improving ourselves. We need to work on ourselves, and we need to learn new methods, new technologies, especially now that we have this boom of the technology. You know, I'm a millennial. I was born with this, so it's quite necessary. And to publish, well, there are some journals where teachers can publish, scientists, but obviously it takes time. But although it takes time, it worth it. It worth
Definitely,
it. Mhm,
it works. So
mhm,
especially when you take your time and that's a topic or that's something that you have worked on many years, or you
mhm.
have target a specific group of students, and you know that that current group of students will go to the next year, or maybe you take in the next semester, and you see their improvement with the results, and you compare, you see, okay, I apply this pre-test, and then I apply the post-test. So we are talking about instruments, no? Methodology instruments about it.
Exactly.
All right. Um, well, dear colleagues, dear teachers, in this moment, you are allowed to participate as well. So if you have any question, you want to make any comments to our special guest, Ms. Mayra Avila, okay, it's open. Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Carranza.
Thank you so much. Good evening, Miss. It's a nice,
Good evening.
definitely a pleasure to be this night in this interview with you, listening. And I would like to ask you because I consider that you may give me an orientation on this. I have studied and I have been talking with so many people. I am from Manabí, so in the UTM, the Universidad Técnica de Manabí, even I met a doctor, and this doctor I asked once, how can we create or do the the work that we have to complete when we have students with disabilities? I don't remember exactly the name right now, but anyways, the thing is, I ask so many people, and the answer usually is just put some information, make some copies, and put the grade. You don't have anything to do. They are not going to learn. They are not normal as the other kids, and you don't want to be involved in a problem. So make some copies, write some documents, and take some photos if you want, so you have evidence, and put the grade. That's all. What do you think about this? what is your point of view about working with students with disabilities? How can we make these adaptations? Adaptations, that's the name that we have. Uh, Please, I have two more questions, but this is the first
Sure.
one.
Okay, well, thank you so much, first of all, for your question. That's an interesting question, too. Okay, well, I have to say that first of all, I consider myself a humanistic teacher. My philosophy centers on the belief that education should nurture the whole person, first of all, in three main things or three main aspects. First, emotionally, secondly, intellectually, and then socially. Well, so from my perspective, each student, yes, is unique. Is unique with their own strengths, interests, and potential. So when we talk about students with any type of disability, I would say that it's a challenge. It's a challenge for us as teachers because in our classrooms in Ecuador, especially, we have like almost 30 students per class or 40 students per class, and then it's a challenge as well. It's a second challenge. Then I would say that as teachers, we need to work mostly not individually but as teams. So we need to work cooperatively. You see, so why is that necessary? Because it takes time to understand the specific needs of a student. So working as groups, it helps us to understand from different perspectives, from teachers, from parents, and support staff, even the administrators, to learn and know a little bit more about their learning styles, strengths, and challenges, and to recognize that all of them, even with disabilities or not, they have their own talents too, and we need to support them too. So if a student has a disability, either physically, sensory, cognitive, or emotional, you need to work closely with that student, but also with a group of people around, parents, with other professionals, the occupational therapist even, and not just changing an activity or giving an extra worksheet and that's it. No, we need to also be careful with that. So that's why we are teachers. We learn those methods, the techniques, but that's not enough. So we need to be humans too, to think that they are humans and we need to nurture them emotionally, intellectually, as I said, but also socially in a certain way. Okay. So that would be my point of view. Okay.
Thank you so much, Mr. Carranza, for your question, and also Miss Maria for their insight experience that she has sharing with us. No, I have heard about humanism, Miss Mayra. I once invited in a in a webinar. I think that she was a Mexican presenter, Miss
Mhm.
Rita Aguilar. I remember her, and she was connecting humanism with education, and I remember uh, the triangle, no, that everything comes from home, school, and the background. So education is transformed in this triangle. So I remember that because when you mentioned that humanism is highly impacted in every stage, you know, cognitively, emotionally, yeah, and we assume the role as teachers that we are humans, so we support emotionally to our students. So um, I I tend to believe that every student has to be in a different style, but more than a different style is the way you approach them. So in a human way. So they learn differently, absolutely. They have different values, they have different core of knowledge, but you can use techniques or ways um, to motivate them. Okay, as Krashen says, now with the theory of affective filter, when you create a good atmosphere in your classroom. So yeah, I I think that all we teacher have done this part of the job, but uh, we don't have only to focus on the results because results can vary from student to student. So the most important, the effective way to determine is that when at the end when the students say, okay, thank you so much, or I admire you because you tend to be patient with me, or I didn't know how to do it, and you stop for a moment for a while, and you uh to show me this, so you touch my heart. So I in that way I think that we have fulfilled our students heart in that part.
Absolutely. And I have to something else to say. It's, for example, my class, my goal is not just to impart knowledge, but to create an environment where students feel valued, understood, and also empowered to explore their own learning paths. I really consider that we need to foster supportive, compassion atmosphere so curiosity can be encouraged. And mistakes are seen as opportunities for growth as well.
Definitely, yeah. Opportunities to be better, to improve,
Mhm.
right? Okay, regarding to another aspect, we are going to consider now about um, artificial intelligence. Now, this is a very broad topic, but we are going um, to delimit this topic in this way. For example, uh, depends on the way that we use ChatGPT or other kind of applications. Okay, so for research purpose, no, um, students and faculties, professors, or any professionals, in order to reduce time consuming, use ChatGPT, and I don't mean that they only copy paste, but you need quick answers. You need to go through to ChatGPT, and you go on to your research, and ChatGPT shows you different interventions. Okay, you have to do this, and you read it, you scan the information. But how well and confident we can use that data in order to determine, because we spread velocity in this time. So, dear Mayra, so what recommendations or suggestions you can give us uh, to any professionals or students? So, how to use this artificial intelligence in favor of their, I don't know, their progress, or making progress in order or to achieve different academic goals.
Well, that's an interesting question, Andres, because as you know, in this 21st century, we have several platforms, several apps that, well, represent an important source of information and also helps daily in our context, like in teaching, for example. And some students even use them as a great tool. But I would say that in order to work in a positive way with this type of platforms, we need to set up specific patterns. Like in our context, in the educative context in universities, we need to set up some rules first in order to use them. For example, in writing, especially ChatGPT, if you asked to write a short essay, the ChatGPT will do it immediately, right? In seconds. But the thing is, ChatGPT or any other platform is a good tool to have some information, but it's very important also, apart from setting up some rules in the class, let them know the students that technology is not everything. Like it's important that remember that technology without talent or without hard work is not enough. Whenever you go, for example, if you travel to another country, to United States or to a country in Europe, for example, if you have the English language with you, okay, if you know it, you can practically interact with any person all over the world. You don't need it. So it's a great tool to enhance your knowledge, but if you need to work with this ethically, right? So that's what I would say. But obviously, these tools are wonderful for expanding vocabulary or maybe to create more even activities for you as teachers. You can help yourself to improve reading comprehension of your students, create some opportunities to present some projects, but obviously we need to know when to use it and how to use it too.
Great. So, yeah, so you agree with the way that we use ChatGPT and other applications. So the point is how to use it effectively. Uh,
Exactly.
that's right. So ChatGPT offers you different responses, but it depends on you. It is up to you how to um, adapt those responses and use your capacity to make deductions and accept, okay, I'm going to paraphrase, I'm going to use this, or maybe I need to cite this information, or even I have to restore the research. So I have to start a new research because sometimes ChatGPT told you, okay, this is the reference, and you believe it, you trust in ChatGPT, but however, this data, but at
Mm-hmm.
the moment when your professor or your tutor observe and they worry you, okay, this is not a real reference, or maybe you
Mm-hmm.
copy paste. So you need to be careful with that part. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Absolutely. Yeah, there are several reasons why it's important not to fully trust the ChatGPT as well, because actually it's a platform also that collects information from different parts of the world. You see information, and I remember that I was using. Let me see. Last year, I think we were like reviewing with some teachers how accurate this type of platforms were, and we requested to create a picture of the future successful woman. And the result was a person, a blonde lady with specific characteristics. And we said, okay, there are some kind of stereotypes here. So in order to realize about that type of um, a let's say not fully trust on those results, is like you prepare yourself first. As teachers, you need to be prepared, you need to read, you need to compare, you need to contrast. And that's when I say you also are a researcher, not just a teacher. You should be a researcher as well.
Well, in this moment, Mr. Carranza will ask you a question. Go ahead, Mr.
Okay.
Licenciado Carranza.
Thank you so much, Mr. Miss. I can contemplate an idea to join the strength of the English teachers, and that is the unity. Maybe, I don't know what's your opinion, but I consider that the unity must be in the board of education, that we create a department of English teachers, and there we can follow the rules that sometimes are broken because uh, in the graduation ceremony of the students of the high school, they are supposed to give a speech in English, but they are not doing it right now. The English teachers must have the B2 level. They are not doing it right now. Some of them, of course, not all. We need some uh, something to control all of this, and the students that must have the level B1 plus when they get out of the high school too. So many things, but there are some ideas, and these are private ideas. I don't see if it's going to be useful or not. I heard Colegio de Docentes de Inglés, some people are creating. I heard federation things, but it's not from the state. We need to do it from the Board of Education. What's your opinion about that? Can we have a strength if we are all united?
Well, thank you so much for your question again. Well, you know as I said, we need to work as a team, okay? So uniting teachers to work as teams in our country, in Ecuador, it's an essential step that we need to pursue, okay? A collaboration, in order to improve the educational standards and create more cohesive learning environments. So first of all, we need to build a sense of community, and that has to do with leaders that we have in first line, because the benefits are not just for teachers but also for students, and also it enhances the overall quality of education. So it's possible, of course. It strengthens also the unity of teachers of in a high school, in even universities. So we need to work as a team. We need to have a common purpose, help teachers understand how their individual roles can contribute to a collective change, to a collective impact, and that every single teacher is also valued and they have talents too. We need not to compete as teachers, right? But to compete in order to be better and also help our students improve education across the country. So, but in order to gain that, to achieve it, we need to collaborate. We need to be motivated as teachers too. We need to be motivated. So we, as leaders, maybe why not creating collaborative platforms, uh, online collaborative tools, as you said, and now we have some groups creating like to change or exchange even some different tools, how we work in a different context, and to adapt them in our own context. So in this same way, we need to collaborate, share our resources, and solve problems together. Okay, so that's what I think. In this way, we can have a better context.
Thank you so much, Mr. Carranza, for your question again, and Ms. Mayra for you bringing their insights. Okay, dear professors, we are now in this teacher professional development open interview with our special guest, Ms. Mayra Avila, and we are discussing open topics now. We were so far we have discussed about artificial intelligence, advantages, disadvantages, and this last point, I want to express my point about that. Well, I remember some years ago in our country, in Ecuador, there were some affiliations or group of English teachers, no? Maybe you heard, APE, English Teachers Association. It existed in the the place it was originally from. It was in Guayaquil, but it was spread in different regions, no? For example, Babahoyo, Cuenca, Quito, Loja, well, Manabí, etc., no? So what was the idea? The idea was um, not only, sorry, to FENAPUPE, yes, thank you, Mr. Carranza. FENAPUPE existed 20 or 30 years ago. Yes, I remember that, no? I met, sorry if I mention his name, Mr. Christian Torres was the leader, or was one of the leaders, no? Mr. Torres, he's from Guayaquil, yeah. Yeah, I didn't, in that time, I was not, I didn't belong to FENAPUPE, but I belonged to APE, because APE was different fields, no? Teaching, training, workshops. Okay, I remember Mr. White. In that time, I cooperated with APE, so that's the reason why I told you. So, um, well, the idea changed. So you know that through the time, maybe that it existed different ideas, and um, they support in different ways right now. No, I decided to be an entrepreneur, to work in on my way. So I took that decision, but I agree with Miss Mayra. So there's not only a unique way to work. There are many ways that we can support each other. For example, I saw in other countries, for example, Peru, Mexico, Colombia. So they joining group. For example, Mextisol, Perutisol, Colombia Tisol. I think in Ecuador 2 years ago, it was recently formed Ecuatisol, no? Ecuador Tisol, no? So in Riobamba, I was in Riobamba when, yeah, there were a group of teachers that they created now. So, dear professors, so in this last part of the interview, we were concluding about that. Um, we were mentioning about different affiliations and group of teachers, and we are absolutely convinced that the when we join forces and we work together, it would bring some results, particularly in education, professors, students, instructors, especially in language teaching, um, open their ideas in order to make progress in their country. So we have already discussed with Miss Mayra. Okay, well, so in this last part of the interview, Miss Mayra, let me ask you about who are you as a person? So what are your hobbies? What do you like to do? Can you talk us a little bit more, please?
Sure,
Uh,
and
yeah,
sure,
okay.
Andres. Well, I'm an English teacher, I always have loved language and communication, as I said. But among my hobbies, well, I try to support my students in a different way. We try to create an atmosphere of trust where students feel like safe, comfortable to experiment with language. I try to work, especially as I said, based on the communicative language teaching method. I believe that this method should be learned through active, meaningful communication, integrating language learning and real world content. And well, that's why I apply these activities such as games, visual aids, the support of these different to support different learning styles, and also role play. So I would say that one of my hobbies is to prepare this type of activities where students can experiment language in a real way. You know, for instance, I interact also with them through different platforms, reinforcing their vocabulary. Try to support also my teaching through video clips to improve their listening comprehension, and a variety of activities that helps them maintain their interest. So I try to ensure that my lessons are mostly student centered. And apart from that, I try to involve on social activities with projects, you know, and so in this way I can continue learning all the time.
Sounds amazingly that you have joined different activities and what about traveling? So you combine other activities with English, with teaching English. So
Oh, yeah, regarding my personal also hobbies, I would say yes. I travel. I travel at least once a year. I try to visit a different country, and I consider that like being involved in a culture, different culture, helps you honestly to develop your emotional intelligence too. Why? Why do I would say that? Because in this way you can understand people from a different perspective. You know, you get access to their thoughts, to their ways of behavior, to their forms of living. And in this way, you can learn more and create yourself opportunities for others to learn too. So your students can later learn from you. So it's not just a matter of traveling, but traveling for what? Traveling
for
to
a
learn
purpose.
something else, to yes, to improve yourself. And that's the power of traveling, of being involved, of interacting with people, you know, and that's what I would say. So to me, the English language and even teaching, it's an ongoing journey, and where I have to learn all the time, and where I have to mix my some methods and digital methods, but also my knowledge, my personal knowledge that comes from other parts, and to engage different learning styles in the class.
Absolutely. And combines that it's in teaching English is more than a simple exposition or presentation of knowledge that you teach a language. I think it's in real life and to be genuine with the language. So you need to contact every time, every single moment. It's a lifestyle. So
And and I would like to finish with something else
of
based on
course,
what
dear
you
Mayra.
just said. And I think that thinking on future, and future of the English language education must be like focus on the strong commitment to linguistic equity, you know, to cultural diversity and the promotion of multilingualism. So why? Because in this way, the English language is seen as a tool, but a tool to approach and to improve other languages, validate other languages, other tongues. So in this way, students are encouraged to value their own mother tongues, and English can also be learned and communicate, helping. It can help us bridge the gap between other identities, and in this way we can see the meaning of the what lingua franca is, so we need to avoid this stigma actually that considering that just English is the global language, with regional or we need to know their sociolectoral variations and also value the other languages as well. So that's what my thoughts are.
Yes, absolutely. And your testimony about how English language influenced those that's cultural background, cultural awareness. So the
Mhm.
motivation and the self-reflection of our own mother tongue and the traditions and the culture that students can learn from when they learn a second language. So it's in English and they value their own. So that sounds
Exactly.
fantastic. So from the bottom of my heart, dear Maria, we deserve the best of your, not only in the professional fields, even uh, in the personal field. Okay, so thanks for being here, dear teachers, in this professional development teachers interview. We keep well informed you when we have another teachers interview. Follow us in our social medias, and we let you know when do we have. Dear Mayra, thanks for being here and keep doing well your homework.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Andres, and have an excellent night.
Have a good night, everybody. So we start the next week. Goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye bye.